Hi everyone, good afternoon from Vienna. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Making It in Austria. I'm your host, Adela. And today I have a very special guest, and you will hear why in a few seconds, our Petra Botekova. Petra, welcome.
Hi, Adela. So nice to be here. Excited to finally talk. It's been a long time.
Yes, it's been a long time. Was it 2019? It was October 2019 in Graz where we met for the last time at one networking event, startup Spritze.
Exactly.
Denise, if you're watching, so we're thinking about you. You have to bring us together again. And back then we were talking about your startup Relog, right?
Real pilot, yes.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Petra, and what's been happening in the last year and a half-ish.
Oh, a lot. How much time do we really have? No, but I mean, well, today, I'm an entrepreneur, and I've been a full-time entrepreneur now for 2 years, for almost 3 years, actually. No, 2 years. And it feels like ages, but it's really not that long. And well, today what I do is I help especially business owners, only business owners, to grow their businesses with YouTube. So basically build their authority online with video and then turn those viewers into customers. And you might be wondering that, well, last time we were doing something completely different, right? So it's basically, I come from the corporate environment, and for I think around 6 years, I was working for a basically a consulting agency within the relocation industry. And I had like this, something, or I built up this secure place where I was managing a team, and I really liked my job. And suddenly I had this vision, I want to digitize everything you've been doing. And the process, right? You moved to Vienna, to Austria, the struggles, and probably many of your viewers know it too, right? If you come to Vienna, you probably had to deal with visa or, with just like bureaucracy. You have to care of your, where you're going to live, and culture shock and all of the things, right? And this is exactly what I've been dealing with for years. And then I saw the opportunity to digitize a lot of that. And so I came up with this idea of an app, and I found a perfect co-founder who had experience in the HR. We were like, okay, we're going to create this app that's going to digitize the process and sell it to companies here in Austria, right? Mm-hmm. Who are hiring international talent, of course. And as you can imagine, and it was a perfect idea back then at the time. Exactly the same month that we launched the app, that we launched the company, COVID hit, like the exact same month, right? And after, I think, of course, this vision didn't come from one day to the other, right? It's been a long time. And me and Nadine, we've been working on this for at least 6 months together. And then suddenly, we lost everything. Like, we lost the potential customers, the potential investors, suddenly, all of the people who were in, were out, which is like this, and we couldn't believe this. And honestly, for 6 months, I really felt like I lost my perspective, my identity. I had this whole blown crisis, and I didn't really know what to do. And I mean, at the end of the day, what really saved us, and it was so crazy because it was like from 0 to 100 out of nowhere. Not out of nowhere. It's been a long time coming, but basically the Austrian government bought our technology to basically create their app that they can give those people, those international people who want to come to Austria, and give them information for free. And that was something that was a complete breakthrough for us, of course. I mean, we were so grateful for that. And we are together until today. We are still working together and finalizing the app actually right now. And that was, it was a crazy experience, right? And, this was also what really inspired me to then show other people how they could do the same, right? Exactly the same thing that you are doing, right? You have this amazing experience of living abroad and having built a career for yourself, a successful career for yourself, and you want to share it with others. And for me, a huge part of this journey was YouTube, because basically how this idea came around was just me talking on video and posting it on YouTube. And I mean, honestly, my first video was really terrible. Like my first couple of videos were really, really bad. But I was just out there and I was just putting myself out there, wanting to share all of the things like the culture shock, or the culture in Germany back then when I was living in Germany, or whatever that was, right? And it wouldn't be, I still believe that, we wouldn't have come so far if it wouldn't be for YouTube, and it wouldn't be for me putting myself out there, and of course getting feedback from other people, and of course also building my authority online through video, because I believe video is just a great way that people can see you, they can get to know you, and they can of course trust you, and eventually then become your customers. And so that's how it came around. And just a lot, basically, near the end of the last year, I created a course about YouTube for business owners. So it's not just like, how to get subscribers fast kind of a thing, but really a strategic thing, like how you can use YouTube as a strategic tool for your business. And I've been really working with amazing women all around the world who are launching their businesses or already have their businesses and now want to, go to YouTube and go to the next level basically with their businesses and add YouTube to their, I would say, marketing channels. So yeah, it's a long story short, I guess.
While you were talking, I was listening and I was also thinking about like hundreds of questions that I want to ask you, and as well, a couple of my insights and ideas. And one thing that you said with the video. So when I launched the Making It in Austria, so that was back then in December 2020. I specifically wanted to go on video and not directly on podcast, because I wanted people to see other people, so to see them and to see their emotions, to see them really, not just hearing but seeing. There is like a movie, it's just people telling their stories, and I believe that you can touch people through that. So that was one of the reasons I went, like I said, I want to go on a video. And I still don't have the equipment, so I'm just doing it like out of the room. And sometimes my little girl pops up, and the light is terrible, and the background is not good because I have only 30 minutes, and I need to go back and take her.
Yeah.
But again, the idea with that YouTube wasn't like to make it, kind of the perfect and so on. It was basically about bringing people and allowing them to share their stories, for the reason, like yourself, people were just asking me over and over again, wherever I would talk about different things, they wanted to know, how did I come to Austria? What were the struggles? How was for the visa? How if you don't speak the language? Is it easy to find a job or not? And so on. These typical questions that we all ask ourselves, and you as well. And I just said, I have people around me who did a similar journey, so I want to bring them, and so they can tell their stories. So video is like, I really agree with you. It's a and the podcast I will have to follow. I will bring this because other people are asking, while I'm jogging or I'm in park, I want to listen and not just as well as to see. So, but the one question on top of that is about, how is the future of the, job market for non-Austrians coming? Just today I got the question, the lady who is from Bosnia, she's living now in Turkey, she's finishing her PhD. And she asked me, so I want to move to Austria. So what are the websites where I can look, for a job in the data science, machine learning? So of course, those are, hit jobs, I would say. So I told her, like, don't worry. We used to study together back in Sarajevo. Don't worry, you will have probably to pick and choose from many, companies. And she asked me for one website or like a few places that I can, give her where she can look for a job. So what did you pack in your app and your project? If you can tell us what is happening.
Yeah, no, but this is a great question. I mean, I think that first of all, we already saw the trend before COVID hit, right? That all basically now the countries were, and I think they still will be, competing with each other, right, for the right talent, right? So there are certain jobs and certain positions that are very hard to fill on the local job market. This is also why I decided to focus our app back then on local, or basically people who would come locally to Austria to work here, right? And I think that it's basically, you know, as long as you're exactly in these type of jobs, like, you know, IT development, you know, or data analysis, all these type of jobs, I mean, then you're in the right spot. And this is exactly, for instance, what we are working together with the Austrian government, is exactly to support, you know, those businesses here locally in Austria to attract that type of a talent. Because, and that's, since the governments are not competing with each other, right, it's getting more and more competitive. Why should they come to Austria? Why should they be here, work here? Because there are many people who want to do that, but some might be still considering like Germany or some other countries, right? And I think there are so many great opportunities. And also the local, the Austrian government they already actually launched a platform that is called Work in Austria, where you can also, I think they will be adding more and more jobs in English for international talent. So definitely I would keep an eye on that, because I think that's, of course, I mean, the COVID, I mean, the crisis influenced that a lot, right? I mean, we were influenced by that, of course. It's the same, of course, all of the people who wanted to come here suddenly couldn't because there were no jobs, right? And of course, I mean, because of COVID, we couldn't even do that. But but I mean, a lot of people out there, I know it, you know, had the dream to come to Austria and they couldn't, right?
Yeah.
So that's definitely something that I can recommend to keep an eye on, because I believe that it will be again coming together, and those jobs will be emerging more and more again, because again, we saw it before the crisis, and I think after the crisis will be suddenly, you know, some companies, some industries were doing really, really well, and then they will need a lot of people because they maybe even had to fire people, and now they need to, you know, get that talent again. That's one option. And definitely what I can recommend is also we are developers in Honeypot for exactly that. So these are two other platforms where, you know, they're also helping you a little bit to, you know, work with all of those things, and basically with your CV and you know, with your profile to see where you could fit, where you could fit in. So for this type of a job, you know, there are so many opportunities. And even if, you know, if you don't find the perfect job right now, I would still be patient, because I think that, you know, even if it doesn't happen like this, right, it doesn't happen immediately. I think that, you know, if you're patient enough and you're, you know, constantly looking at the jobs, then you will find something that you're going to like.
You're right with that. The other colleague moved from Munich. She's also from Bosnia. She moved from Munich to Vienna. And she said last year she, you know, during the COVID, she was applying for jobs and she got 170 rejections. You know, she basically knew the whole, you know, the whole landscape of Austria for her. So she had a really clear criteria what she wants. And then she was sending out and getting immediately the rejections, because they weren't hiring due to COVID and the crisis. They didn't know how it's going to look like. And then compared to 2020, then in the beginning of this year, so in January only, she had over 20 interviews. Because again, as you said, you know, she talks, you know, to recruiters and hiring managers and so on. They said there's nothing wrong with your CV and with your experience. It's just the fact that more companies are just in this mode where they are waiting to see what is going to happen and how it's going to, you know, to affect them. And now she recently, with the 1st of July, she moved to Austria. So she has a really cool job now. And, you know, as you said yourself, it's not you, you know, it doesn't have to be you, your CV, your position. So it's just the moment, you know, the time where we live now.
100%. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Petra. And I must admit as well, I, you know, tried to bring some people to Austria, but they end up going to Germany. Because, you know, it's the offer was way more competitive, you know, better. We have to say that, and it was way faster with the administration as well. Because, as you know, when you end up at the MA35, it can be 1 month, it can be 2 months, it can be longer, and you cannot, unfortunately, reach anyone. Now we did the same process for our little girl, because she's a foreigner citizen and she needs a visa. She has a free access to the job market, by the way. I'm looking for she's on the market. And, you know, it took us almost 3 months, you know, to get a visa for her when we live here, and we couldn't reach people. We couldn't go there. It's just like a big fat black box that you cannot reach and so on. So yeah, that's one of the things, it's not about finding the job.
100%.
And this is just one story. And the other story from other ladies that I got as well is that some company, they said, we are not hiring outside of Austria. Now it's kind of freeze. She's from Russia, and they
Yeah.
said, like, it's a freeze. We don't,
Yeah.
because they don't want to, go through the whole process. That's how it
Yeah,
is.
100%. That was exactly what we've been experiencing. Because again, as I mentioned, like we were focused really very much on, the local contracts of people from abroad, coming in here and
Yeah.
working locally in the companies, filling in the jobs that the companies otherwise couldn't find. And I can only tell you, they've been just waiting, right? It was literally just for 6 months, a year. They've been just, all the positions were frozen or in freeze, right? And they couldn't hire even if they needed to hire, they were still waiting, right? So, and again, this is exactly what I see is improving now. So everyone who's been waiting around thinking like, okay, I think this might be your chance to get back in the game.
Awesome. Thank you, Petra, for this insight. And of course, the other part of, of your life, this one side, and now it's this video making strategist. So tell us, I am eager to know all about, what you can tell us in a couple of minutes about YouTube. And, I see that you, mentioning people to have the keywords. I don't have any of that. So I'm just a really, I said, I'm launching this today, and I'm uploading my first video today because, this, I will do it next week because, the light is not good. I'm not ready. It will not be great. And then I said, I'm launching it, and I do my best with the resources what I have.
100%.
But it's always, great opportunity to talk to you and see what can be, improved so that more people can be reached. That's
exactly
the point. Yeah.
It's basically just about that, because I really love your approach, because I think some people are overthinking it for months, even years. So they had this idea of putting themselves out there on video, but then they're like, yes, but I'm not good on camera, or I don't have the perfect lighting, or I don't have the perfect equipment, or I don't know how to edit my videos. I don't know how to do all of the things, or what would I even say in the first place? And then they just don't do it, right? And I think, even though I talk about strategy and efficiency, I still encourage everyone just to start creating videos. And even if you decide that you want to start it, but you don't want to put the first video that you ever created in your life out there for everyone to see, just then keep it to yourself, right? You can just start out literally, filming yourself like us right now, talking here on Zoom. You don't even have to have a camera or perfect equipment. Just start doing it, and get into the habit of creating videos. I think it's super important, right? The other thing is, of course, that my clients are especially entrepreneurs who are busy, right? They're like, oh my gosh, I don't have time to do all of the things. Can you give me just like the nitty gritty? Can we get to the point? You tell me exactly what I have to focus on so that I don't lose my time and can be efficient. And especially as you mentioned, right? You can, or you want to be seen by people. And what I've noticed, and I'm curious what you think about that, but I've noticed that there is suddenly this movement of women, especially women, who found their calling somehow, like found their soul calling, and they want to help people, right? And they want to help people in completely different niches, from can be holistic nutrition or holistic medicine. It can be helping women to be more like be in their natural energy more, or it can be whatever that is. I mean, it's really all over the place. But there are a lot of women who suddenly are like, okay, I want to step into my power. I want to be seen, but not because I now want to be rich or famous or whatever, but they want to help other people. And I think in that case, I also, and this is what I made my mission, I really want to help those women who want to change the world, right? And want to make the quality of life better. I want to help them to be seen by more people, because we need those women and those people to actually be seen, and not those who just care about, whatever. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be earning enough. I'm the last person who's going to tell you that, I think you should be very well paid for what you do. And I think a lot of these women will be millionaires. I really believe that. And it's just that, they're like, you can feel it. Even they tell you, my cause is I want to be seen because I really want to help as many people as possible. So yeah, I mean, I think for the beginning, before we go more into depth, I just wanted to talk a little bit about that, because I think, you've been also working with a lot of people like this, and have probably known people like this.
Yeah, it's you're absolutely right. And one of the questions I got recently while I was doing an interview was, "Is this making it in Austria only for women? Is it only women community?" And I was like, "No, it's not. We have sometimes one or the other men showing up, in in few episodes. At least we have 10 men in this group." This is, by the way, 54th episode. So that many guests we had so far. And I told to them, so I told to Daniela, like, women come to me, and I experienced a completely different story than, like, there's no women for the panel, there's no women showing their faces and going live and talk. In my case, I post episode about you that we talked, and immediately I get like a couple of messages on LinkedIn. So I mostly communicate on LinkedIn, through LinkedIn messages, saying, "I want to tell my story as well. I want to come to your channel and I want to share my insights, or how was challenging for me, or what did I learn," and so on and so forth. So they approach me.
Yeah.
And the men, mostly they say, "I have something that I'm working on, so I will get back to you in 3 months, or let's talk in 2 months, or whatever. I'm not now, I'm in mid of something," and so on. So I experience a different trend, and it might be, as you said, for you and for me as well, because we've been out there. So we've been out there, we've been showing our faces and sharing our stories, and probably these women can relate, it's with that, and feel comfortable to talk about it, in their authentic ways, to share
Yeah.
their stories. And I see that, it's like, really, there's this way of women, that are, changing, going out there and telling their stories. And one thing that I learned during one of these speaking booster challenges was, like, our stories are voices of millions, and
Mm-hmm.
something to really remember. So we just talked about, the pregnancy and giving the birth just before this, and we said nobody talks much about it. And when I go out and share the story, I always get private messages about, yes, I was the same, or it was worse, and I didn't have the help, and it was like this and that, but nobody talks about it. And I think I know what you're doing, and many other women that I know in Austria, is so important. As you said, it's a movement that I can, you feel it. If you're inside, you feel that there's so many things that are changing, and I hope that, for good, where we are stepping up and doing things that should have been done a long time before, but better now. Better now. And one tip, what I did with the videos, because there's nothing of me before 2020. I went to this mission impacting 1,000 women in tech, and then and showing my faces, and my face. And one thing, everybody was telling me, do a video, and I had I was in a coaching program, and everybody had their channels and podcasts, and I was there with zero. And there's like, it's easy, go there and do a video. I was like, it's not that easy. And then I started playing with Instagram, for instance. I found it as a, before going on LinkedIn, I found Instagram, and as I just started, posting, going live from time to time. When I, after one big conference, I was really hyped, and I just went to did my live, and then did another one, and then did another one. And that was kind of place where I experimented. I just went and talked about different topics, and someone was listening, someone wasn't. But it's the point that I went out there. And I do as well have those videos where I did like 50 times trying to make a perfect video, and then it's like, it's not working. It's like, when you try it, it's like when you sit and write, I'm not that kind of person. I cannot go by the script. I'm the worst. I go all over the places, and I cannot go by a script. It needs to come out of me, and when I write and when I do things, it's just, script doesn't really help. I write it down and just like leave it aside.
Well, actually, I think what will be just like a perfect script, if we're talking about script, but not really having a script, I think there is a method that will be perfect for you in that case, because I also believe, we work differently. Different people work differently. When, and for me, sometimes it's super helpful to have like really like a full-blown script. And sometimes, I just have like keywords, right? And that's all I need. And but what I think it's super helpful, everything that you need in order to make a video that's gonna help you not only like hook people in and like basically being interested in what you're talking about and keep watching, but also to to have a certain call to action so that you can grow your channel or you can grow your business, whatever that is what you're working on. It's just when you're thinking about it, it's just three parts. The first part is literally what I just said. So for instance, having a hook. So let's say thinking about your audience, let's say that the hook would be, do you want to learn German in 3 months, right? So the hook is pretty much the result that those people want to achieve, plus ideally in what time frame they can achieve it. Because I mean, we like humans, we're wired pretty much and we want everything super fast, right? And ideally, or we want to know how long it really takes, right? So either instant gratification or at least just tell me, how long, what to expect, right? So like, for instance, how to learn German, like how do you want to learn German, in 3 months, whatever, or do you want to become fluent in even better, become fluent in German in 3 months, that's super catchy.
And then you give them like 50 books and 50 channels and 50 places.
And then, after that, you can just basically pretty much talk about all of the things that you want to talk about in a video, giving value or sharing your story or sharing your experiences and so on. And then the last part is just a call to action. And this is what I see a lot of people forget, because they're like, oh, I don't want to come across as salesy, or I don't want to come across as needy, or whatever that is, but at the end of the day, I think what's super helpful, especially for us who either want to grow our channels or grow our authority online or build our businesses and get those customers, right? Then, you can just end it with, and if you enjoy this video, follow for more. Or, if you enjoy this video, you want to go deeper, download my free ebook, and then you're building your email list. Or, I have 2 coaching spots left, you can book and go and book a discovery call here and there. Right. So, and I think that's it. Honestly, you don't need more. And that's already going to help you, to differentiate yourself from people who don't have, an agenda at all, don't have any strategy or any plan at all. But at the same time, it's not, it's not preventing you from flowing with the video and being creative in the video. Right. So it's just like one tip that just, came to my mind when we were talking about this, because I totally understand, some people are like, I don't want to be writing those scripts. No, you don't have to. As long as you just structure it in this way, then you're good to go.
Awesome. I noted it down. I will try it out at the end of this video. So we could talk for days, Petra. I'm really happy to have you. By the way, follow-up question. What is a good number of subscribers on YouTube? Is there a good number or no?
No, not really. I mean, it's always what do you want to achieve, right? So for instance, my clients who are more like coaches or service providers, they have their specific niches, right? And it really depends how big that niche is, right? For instance, you can imagine when I was in the moving to Austria niche and I was creating my first channel, well, I came until today, I could get almost, I think, 1 million views. But honestly, like, of course, this channel is growing, but I think it's never going to be like this huge channel, like, 100,000 of subscribers or whatever, because that niche itself is not big enough, I wouldn't say not big enough. It's a niche, right? I mean, it's a certain amount of people who are interested in this type of topic, right? Then, of course, if you are talking about entrepreneurship, then and globally, right, that's bigger, right? So there you can expect to have those 100,000 of subscribers if you are posting consistently and really optimizing your videos. So, it's really, there is no good number. I think what's super important is to say that even if it's with a small channel, you can be really successful and make impact, because again, it's more about creating videos for your ideal viewer or ideal customer, and not really, about going broad. As long as you're not an influencer, or someone who just want to be YouTube famous, then you are always better off niching down and creating a niche for yourself And again, like, if of course, if it's more important to you to have those hundreds and thousands of subscribers, then, by all means, you can do something else. But I think there, especially I think for us women, for entrepreneurs, just important to know this is not important, because I think a lot of people are just chasing the views because, we want to either prove ourselves, or sometimes, for instance, me, like my case, right? I need to prove myself. I have to basically, I want to, this feeling inside of me that I'm not good enough, I want to make it up for this, I want to show everyone, what I'm capable of. It just, it's not about that. It's really about, I think, going deep. And I am the type of a person who is always encouraging people to rather go deep, because I'm also myself more the type of a person who likes to go deep into topics and teach people deep strategies than really just be on the surface. And reaching a lot of different people who, at the end of the day, my impact might not be as big as working deeply with someone. So I hope that makes sense.
Definitely. So I'm again thinking along, and says success for me for this channel is about people listening to your story. Firstly, people showing on the channel. Secondly, you being sharing with your audience and being proud of and for some women, it's for the going live for the very, very first time in their career. So this is also a success for me. There's no video, and there's like this one video of this lady who rocks in her business and nobody knows about her. And this was also about the Making It in Austria. One thing that I said to myself, I don't want to bring, usual suspects who already have enough, their podcast, their YouTube channel, this and that. I'm looking for my unique, for my diamonds, that they are there, they're doing wonderful things, and they are not, they are the role models as well for the new generation, for us as well. So this is a success as well. And a success, of course, is, when people see it, they believe it, and they say, I want to be on your YouTube channel. So I want to, show up, and I see what you're doing, and so on and so forth. So
and the success is, that means something different for everyone, right? And I think that's also important to be really thinking about, what is my goal with my YouTube channel, right? Because first time when I started my channel, I didn't have any agenda. I wasn't thinking about how I'm going to monetize it, or, I was just like, okay, I want to share my experiences on YouTube. And that was good enough. And for a long time, I was super happy with that. Of course, when I started my own company and I realized that YouTube is also a great marketing tool, and I was like, well, okay, let me see how I can leverage as a marketing tool, right? And how I can. And so it's just really, it's really about, what do you want to achieve with that, and what makes you happy at the end of the day? Because I think that's also where people make mistakes, is they are like, okay, I want to grow fast, or I want to, have a lot of views and a lot of subscribers, whatever, and then they just do what works, and eventually it doesn't make them happy anymore, because they're like, oh shit, okay, what do I do now? And they just give up then at the end of the day. They just stop creating those videos, because it's no fun anymore, right? So I think it's just so important to not only be looking at, what's going to make me successful in the eyes maybe of someone else, but really just be thinking about, what is it really that I want to achieve with this thing, right? So that's super important.
Yeah, because you are, again, spending your time, and that's the most valuable resources what you have in life. It should mean something to you, and reflect, as you said. You need to reflect and see where you are. If 200 subscribers or 3,000 subscribers, what's the difference? Petra, thank you so much. It was so nice talking to you and catch up after a very, very long time. I hope we see you in person very soon. I started organizing the monthly meetings for the community. So next one is on the 12th of August after work. So if you're around, I would love to have you, to see. I will write you more about that. But before we wrap up, I ask all my guests, so what do they read at the moment? Is there any book, podcast, channel that they would like to recommend to our viewers?
Well, I must say, I am still more of a bigger fan of YouTube than podcasts. As you can imagine. No, but there are indeed
herself till the end.
No, but there are indeed a couple of things. But actually, what's super interesting is a podcast that I've just discovered some time ago. But this is more for those people who are maybe have been discovering their spirituality in lately. And I think there's a lot of people actually who just, even me, for instance, I've been non-religious for my whole life. And then, a couple of years ago, I started to awaken a little bit. I was like, oh, interesting. There are other things besides, just me, a human body. And of course, everyone is different. But eventually, I think all of us believe in something higher. It doesn't have to be God, doesn't have to be, whatever. But and I think it also helped us to grow basically as a person. And one of them is definitely what I've been loving over the last. It's been, I think, a year. It's a podcast from Magic Cathy. She's actually a German. She's a digital nomad, and she's been living all across the world. And she's talking mostly about human design, which is a super interesting tool that I definitely recommend. I don't know if you know it, but if you don't know it, you have to go and see what your profile is, because it helped me so much. And we are talking about work, and I'm always interested in how does spirituality works in business, and what does it mean for my business and for my work and for the way how I work. And human design is just a perfect tool to really discover how you can work with your energy better. So for instance, I give you an example so that you know what I'm talking about. So there are different energy types. For instance, I'm a projector, and it means that I'm more of the person who is supposed to kind of work less, because my work is more of guiding others. So, coaching, it's not a coincidence that I do coaching now. And as you can imagine, talking with someone for an hour, or, having a deep conversation with someone it takes a lot of energy, right? And for the longest time I thought I have to be like hustling and grinding, and I have to be doing all of the things. And I had a burnout basically 3 years ago, and it was really bad. And I must say, since then I've just been discovering all of the things. And really, human design helped me a lot to understand myself better in that sense, like how I can use my energy to work better, more efficiently, and also still be productive. And that's why I'm so right now passionate about basically incorporating it also into business coaching, because I think everyone can learn from that. And you're just imagining like work where everyone is being supported in their unique way how they work, instead of burning themselves out and expecting that everyone is going to get the same results basically out of the same way of work. It just blows my mind, But that's another thing that I could talk about for an hour, right?
We need a YouTube episode about that.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, if you're talking, maybe, maybe it's not a specific podcast or a specific, YouTube channel, whatever, but like a topic itself, human design is really super interesting when it comes to, I think, growing as a person, personal self-development, and really learning more about you and how you work and how you can maybe work better and maximize your efficiency, but at the same time being happy about how you do work.
Nadina showed me once the human design. I did it a few years back and I forgot, and I will have to do it again now that you have explained it and more, and there is a podcast about it. I will definitely look again.
I can recommend it.
So thank you, Petra. I would have hundreds of more questions for you, but we'll leave that for the next time. Otherwise, we will burn all the minutes. But I really, really, really enjoyed talking to you, and thank you for spending your time, your afternoon with us. And thank you everyone for watching, sharing, liking, subscribing. And if you want to be part of our LinkedIn group, Making It in Austria, check it out. The link is below. So join us and talk to the experts, ask us any questions that you have. So it's more people, more ideas, and hope we can bring some cool ideas to your problems or challenges that you're facing. Thank you, Petra. Thank you so much. And
thank you, Adela.
Yeah.